Hello, everybody. Welcome to the planning board meeting for January 10th, 2023. We'll start off by doing a roll call of the members that are present. I'll just go by who I can see. Linda?
Here.
Andrew?
Here.
Sue?
Here.
Mark?
Here.
And I know Haley is not able to join tonight, and I am present. Okay, so let me bring up tonight's agenda. And before we even start that off, let me just say thank you to everybody and your patience for the technological challenges of last week. So I very much appreciate your time and taking the time to join us tonight. That's to the board members, to staff, and to the public that's going to be able, or that is joined and is going to be able to join. All right, so for the first items, we'll go ahead and do some A&Rs. So let's get those out of the way.
Hey. I think I got about this far last time. This is the A&R for 3452 Authors Road, off Lexington Road. And the parcels are in the Residence B zone district, which requires 20,000 square feet of area and 100 feet of frontage. The plan shows the conveyance of 290 square feet from lot 9A-6A to lot 1-B, and 682 square feet from lot 1B over to 9A-6A. Both lots have the required area and the required frontage. So I am recommending that the board endorse the plan.
I have a little question.
Yeah.
If parcel B, it has required area and frontage, but I see a tiny little notation there, not a buildable lot. That must be.
Parcel B is being conveyed from 9A-6 to lot 1B. It is not a building lot. It's being conveyed and joined with the adjacent lot.
That's an
Okay.
arrow. I see. That's an arrow to the little gray section.
Yeah, it's
That's
just a
the
marker.
thing that's not a buildable lot. Okay, I misunderstood what that notation applied to. Now I get it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know we don't always get an answer for this.
What?
Necessary, but I am curious. Are they just like, it looks like they're just straightening out a lot line. Do you have any idea why they do this?
No, they're making the lot line more crooked, aren't they?
I think the dash line is that.
I don't know. The solid line is the new property line.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So I don't know if it's so these people can do something with the driveway up here, or these people are doing something in their backyard back here.
Sure.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, just curious. Okay, unless there are any other questions or comments about this, I will take a motion if someone wants to do it.
Okay, I move that the planning board endorse the plan by Hancock Associates titled Plan of Land in Concord, Massachusetts, prepared for John F. Sweeney, dated December 6th, 2022, as approval not required because the plan is not a subdivision, because it shows a proposed conveyance which changes the size and shape of the lots so that every lot shown has the required frontage as required by the Concord zoning bylaw on an adequate public way, and authorize the chair, clerk, or town planner to endorse the plan.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Linda. All right, we'll take a quick vote based on who I see. Linda?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. All right, that takes care of the A&R. We will move on to what will probably take the bulk of our our evening, the 2023 town meeting zoning bylaw amendments in their final form. Elizabeth, do you want to bring them?
So I'm not sure, so I met with the vice chair and the clerk, so I met with Haley and Linda, went through town council's comments, and we made a couple, minor changes, but so what's the best way? I mean, everybody got the version that was submitted, so I don't know if you want me to just bring up each one, and if anybody has any questions or comments. The warrant, town council reviews all the warrants articles that got submitted before it goes to the printer, which will be towards the end of this week. So if there's any clarifications or to the explanation that the board wants to make, there's still time to make those. But what's your preference? I can just bring up what was submitted, and if anybody has any questions, we can move forward from there.
Yeah, I think let's do that. Yep.
Okay. So the first one I have on my screen is the combined business residence article. The changes that town council made to the bylaw itself weren't substantive. They were just reorganizing the sentences to make them a little bit more concise.
Yeah.
The one item they did add was in two spots for and let me come on. So this statement right here and this statement right there. Reason being, for a development including fewer than 5 dwelling units, a payment equal to at least 10%.
Yeah,
Without adding this last statement, town council's advice was, what if somebody wants to just provide a whole unit?
Right.
If without this highlighted section, they would provide their whole unit and have to pay an in lieu fee. And, that's not the intent. If
Right.
And so the same with down here at the bottom. If somebody has to provide, 2.4 units and they want to provide 3, they can provide 3 and not have to do the in lieu payment as well.
Excellent change.
And then I don't think there were any significant changes to the explanation, just some clarification of words.
Okay.
And then Sue, I know you had, I don't know which, I can't remember which.
It was mobile food. I have a teensy weensy comment on the explanation for mobile food.
Okay. So if there's any other questions or comments?
I don't have any others.
Okay.
I think it simplified it. I think it cleaned it up a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely.
And I think consequently, I think people at town meeting will understand it more easily, which is critical. Okay.
Agreed. Okay.
Should we make a motion, like basically supporting, given the
think-
timing on this now?
Yeah, I think you can probably just do it all at once at the end.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so since Sue has so for the mobile food establishment, in the definition, it was town council's recommendation there was an added sentence regarding ice cream truck vendors. They felt it was better to make the definition slightly more vague, well, not vague, more inclusive, and include the actual CMR section. Then if the state updates their definition of mobile food establishment, this definition would automatically update as well.
Yeah.
And wouldn't have to go back to town meeting to change something so it's compliant with the state.
Makes sense.
The other item is there was a separate, an additional item E.
Yeah.
That just talked about the select board having the ability to authorize mobile food trucks on public roadways, which would be something they may do for large events like Ag Day or Porch Fest or something like that. And then the other section was under item C. There was the maximum of 52 days was for a mobile food establishment and included language regarding an operator, and town council is recommending that not be included in the bylaw because it would leave the town in a position of the Attorney General possibly not passing, should this pass town meeting, the Attorney General not approving it, on the same lines as the formula business bylaw, and there being there's a fine line between wanting to regulate uses and going beyond what zoning is intended to do, and going beyond land use and trying to exclude competition. So they recommended that be removed. And we had a separate section just at the end of this new 546, and since the select board authorization on a public way was moved up to item A, and was only item D where somebody could get a special permit to allow more than 2 mobile food trucks. Town council just moved this same section up to item D.
Should so kind of well, maybe this is Sue's thing, I'm not sure. In that section D,
Yep.
Should the first reference to the board be the select board? Because you then say select board.
No.
first.
In the zoning bylaw, whenever the word board is used, it is referring to the
Planning
Board of Appeals.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay, I understand now.
So the first one is the Board of Appeals can grant a special permit
Yes,
on private property. It is the select board who would grant that on municipal property.
understood. Yeah, got it.
And I can bring up town council's version. We can look at the edits to the explanation if somebody has questions regarding that.
Well, can we do, Sue, you said you had something for this one?
I do, and it's trivial. In paragraph 3, to operate in Concord, each mobile establishment must have a separate permit from the health division for each mobile facility that is issued. It used to say that is issued, and I think that in the frenzy of Zoom crashes and everything else, the word issued just got dropped out somehow. That was it. Told you it was tiny.
Perfect.
All right, are there any other questions or comments from the board?
What's everybody's thoughts on Dave Anderson's comments? I thought they were apropos. What effect will this have on current restaurants in Concord? No comment? Okay.
I mean, I can't tell you that. I mean,
No, I know that too. I can't, we don't know the effect. I just think it's a consideration. That's all. So.
I mean, I think the short answer, other than saying I don't know, is that I don't think you're going to see some flood of food trucks. It's just not how this is set up to work.
so as far as, as far as that discussion, tonight's not about discussing the, the merits of,
Okay, that's fine.
but that's something, I mean, I can contact other communities and.
No, I wasn't trying to make work. I was just.
No, I mean, it's a good question. I can contact other communities, and as I work with Linda, I think Linda volunteered to do the presentation for this one. Linda and I can work on the presentation. I can see if I can call other communities to get information.
That'd be great. Would make me more comfortable.
I think it would be valuable to have that information before town meeting, because people are justified in asking. And, our point is it could be good for Concord businesses, because mobile food establishments could be accessory to Concord businesses, but it could also be bad. And well,
I'll look into
we
it.
don't know yet. Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, there are no other questions or comments from the board on the mobile food establishment bylaw. We can move on to the next one.
Okay, hang on. Okay. So previously, this, is it easier when I highlight?
Yes.
Okay. Previously, the amendment for this section just repeated this section down here. So after talking with town council, they kind of made the point, one, they're not sure where this original definition came from, but their statement is that every restaurant sells food and beverages in a ready-to-consume state. That's really not a definition of a fast food restaurant. That's every restaurant. Does that. So
Maybe not a hot pot restaurant.
I'm not going there, but
Good.
so they simplified the definition to be, what the food service is. And its, principal method of food service includes the sale of food and beverages and paper or other disposable containers for consumption off premises. And
wait 1 second before you scroll all the way down there.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you can go ahead.
I think the previous version also said something about the, polystyrene. And town council felt that it wasn't necessary to include that. Two reasons. One, if you start including every other general bylaw as a reference in the zoning bylaw, it will become even more challenging than it already is to interpret. And just because it is not referenced in this section doesn't mean that it doesn't apply. It still applies. It's still a town general bylaw that applies. So they recommended not including that reference.
Okay.
And there was a reference in this amendment back to 454. And town council's recommendation is, again, there's no requirement to, in the parking section, to go back and reference the subsection for a restaurant. Because that's what you're talking about. You're talking about a restaurant, and there's no need to go back and say, this is where you find out what a restaurant is.
Yeah.
So for the explanation, there was a paragraph that talks about the policy regarding fast food, that over 30 years, the building commissioner has had a policy and dealing with restaurants. You had 12 seats and you had some takeout operation if it was accessory to the restaurant, and so, and it also went into what happens with the sewer improvement fee once you have seats and the plumbing code. And it was his recommendation that went a little too far into the weeds for the explanation in the warrant. It may be something good for the public hearing presentation to get a little bit more in depth, but he did not think that it was necessary to have that much detail in the explanation for the warrant. In this section, I clarified when I spoke with Linda and Haley. We were talking about the difference between a drive-in and a drive-through, and why the board was amending this to include a drive-through. So we've added this paragraph here to explain that amendment. So in my conversation with Linda and Haley, we talked about starting to prepare basically like the FAQs that the board does for handouts, and have those ready for the public hearing, which is March 7th. So I know Linda said she would take the presentation for mobile food establishments. So we need volunteers for this article and the combined business residents.
I'll do the fast food.
If I do one, I would want it to be combined business residents, not the other two.
You can do combined business residents.
Somebody else have a burning desire to do it? If not, I'll do it.
Okay. To that question, in all my years, usually the answer is no. Nobody has a burning desire to do the, public hearing and town meeting presentations, so.
Yeah.
And no edits on this one, Sue? No, okay.
And no other comments or questions from the board on this? Okay. That is all three
Well,
of them.
actually,
Yep.
hold
Okay.
on, I do have a question, which is on the previous article under 4.7.1 prohibited uses, where we changed it to say drive-in or drive-through restaurants are expressly prohibited. Should it say drive-in and drive-through restaurants are expressly prohibited? Or does it not, or is it fine as or?
I think or is fine.
Okay,
It's or the use of the word, correct me if I'm wrong, the use of the word or means one or the other. So they're both prohibited.
yeah, I'll read it as restaurants that are drive-in or drive-through are expressly prohibited, and then that makes perfect sense.
Great. All right, with the three of those sort of out of the way. So yeah, so how do we want to word a vote on this since they were already submitted? So we
Yeah,
do we need to
so
do it? We don't need to vote at all. But can we?
you can, vote to support the submission of these three warrant articles with that one edit that Sue had, and then I can let the town moderator know.
Okay. I guess I'll do that. I'll make a motion that the planning board support and endorse the three warrant articles for 2023 annual town meeting as written, with the exception of the mobile food.
The one edit.
The one edit to the mobile food bylaw. Thank you.
Well, second, so we can begin discussion, but should the motion say that we move to support and endorse them, or isn't that what we do later after our hearing? And now we should support and endorse, including them in the warrant.
So correct me if I'm wrong, I think Nathan's is vote to support the submission of these these articles to the warrant with the one edit.
Okay, but he didn't say support the submission of, he just said support.
All right.
Okay.
I make a motion that we support the submission of the three warrants as written with the one edit to the mobile food bylaw.
Right, the three warrant articles. Second,
Is there a second?
I second that.
Thank you, Sue. I'll vote as I see. Linda,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Sue,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. And with that, I will open, because we still have this from last week, general public comments. This would be for the purpose of anything that was not covered either in this meeting or in the last one before we ran out of time. Thank you, Zoom. So if there is a new topic or something that you'd like to bring to our attention, this would be the opportunity for that. Okay, not seeing any hands. I think, are we good?
That's it.
We're good to go then. All right, I appreciate it again. Thank you, everybody, for taking some extra time today for this meeting. And I will call this meeting at 7:31. I'll adjourn the meeting of January 10th, 2023. Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.